kids, here we are, and this is The Wolf Returned and a New Beginning for Yellowstone National Park. So, this is a true story. This is by Celia Godkin. And once again, this is a true story. Hello to any children that are watching. Hello to Elena and Mark, Pat, and any other children that are watching. It is so awesome that you're here to hear this story. Let's get started. I'm always fascinated to hear about the true stories with the wildlife. Are you? Okay, let me get to the first page. On a moonlit night, a howl rings out across the river valley. The elk prick their ears. They have not heard this sound before, yet they are afraid. The howl is answered by another, then another. High on a ridge, the shape of a wolf appears. More wolves join him. The pack, now silent, moves swiftly down the slope to make its first kill. And that's how animals got to eat. They eat, either plants or other animals. Make sure I got the picture where you can see it. The microphone's in the way. If you see on the top there, there's the wolf. All right. What does it say next? In the weeks that follow, the elk move from the valley bottom to the higher, more wooded slopes. The grazing is not so lush here, but in the shelter of the trees, they have a better chance to escape the wolves. So the elk have been moving because they've discovered that the wolves are there, and that's how the wolves survive. They eat the elk. And see, something that happened at Yellowstone, because the wolves were gone, the elk became too populated, and they were doing some damage to the natural environment there. In the following months, the valley begins to change. The tree seedlings, once eaten by elk, now had a chance to grow in the space of a few years. Aspen trees began to grow in the valley. Only in a few years, all of a sudden, new trees and plants were growing because there weren't as many elk. Isn't that just wonderful? Look how beautiful it is. Can you imagine how excited the rangers were when they saw all these plants and other things start to increase? I'm sure it was very exciting. Berry bushes are growing back too. Birds and bears feast on the berries. Can you imagine how exciting that was? That all of a sudden there's more berry bushes, and that's what bears eat, and birds. Isn't that awesome? So it actually helped some of the other animals. Beavers swim down the streams that feed the river. They find the trees they need to build a home. They fell the trees by chewing through the tree trunks with their sharp teeth. They build dams and chewed off branches packed with mud to hold back the water. When deep ponds have formed behind the dams, the beavers build lodges, beaver houses made of sticks. Here they will live and raise their families. So now that more aspen trees are growing, now the beavers are able to do more and have a better life and increase their population. Oops, sorry. I was trying to get the microphone where my sound would be better, and of course it gets in the way by doing that. So what do, right? Other animals build homes at the beaver ponds too. Muskrats make homes like beaver lodges using rushes instead of sticks. Muskrat homes make good platforms on which ducks build their nets. Other birds nest among the rushes bordering the ponds. Here we go. We've got the ducks building their nests. You see the baby ducks? All this is getting better because the elks haven't eaten all the grass and all the vegetation along there. So it's gotten better for the ducks and the birds, the bears and the beavers. That's awesome. A multitude of insects live in the ponds. They are food for many kinds of fishes. The fish, in turn, feed other animals. Otters hunt them in the water, osprey dive on them from above, and herons stab fish and frogs and the swallows. The ponds are teeming with life. So look at that. We've got the herons feeding. They feed on the insects, and you see the fish. They're doing great because there's more insects for them to eat now. So the fish and the heron are all doing better. The ospreys, they're able to get fish because there's more fish now because they have more to eat. And the otters. Did you think that maybe the wolves would make their lives better? Isn't that awesome? Once the river valley was quiet, but now the air is filled with the hum of insects, the reet, reet, reet of chorus frogs, and the flute-like notes of songbirds calling to one another. Here's some more of the pictures. Oops, sorry about that. All right, I'm going to get better at this. I promise. Somehow, someday. I am kind of hard-headed, though. Look at the frog. All right, here's some more pictures. You can just imagine how pretty that is in real life. Every year, birds fly up to the river valley on their spring migration. Before there was a meadow. Now there are trees for the birds to nest in. The trees are home to insects that eat leaves and burrow into wood. The birds eat the insects and help to keep the other pests in check. There we go. And there's the picture of the baby birds. They're hungry. Baby birds are always hungry. They have to eat all the time in order to survive. They grow really fast. You have to eat to grow when you're young. That's just how it is. You don't eat, you're not going to grow. You got to eat to grow and eat good food, good for you food. The wolves prey mostly on weak and sick elk. This helps to keep the elk herds healthy. When there were no wolves, the elk herds had grown too big. Now the herds are smaller and healthier. Did you think that would happen? That the herd would actually get healthier? Because they're picking out the ones that are sick and not doing as well. So the herds actually got healthier. That's awesome. So it actually helped the elk too. Elk compete with bison for food and space. With fewer elk, the bison herds increase in size. All right, let's see. Can you see everything going on there? And you got the elk and the bison were all eating in the same place. And now it's gotten better for all of them. When the wolves have eaten their fill, birds and bears come to feast on the elk carcasses. How about that? There's a bear coming to feed on a carcass. And there's everything going on with that. All the animals eat. When something dies, they all eat off of it. Nothing's wasted. Many animals benefit from the return of the wolves, but not coyotes. Wolves attack the coyotes. With fewer coyotes, their prey, rabbits and mice, increase. The rabbits and mice now become food for hawks, weasels, badgers, and foxes. You know, that's a good thing. You might think, oh, poor coyotes, but coyotes are actually not good animals. They're not natural to our country at all. And they're a problem animal. So there we go. There's a fox. And the fox can eat more mice and everything because the wolves have been taking care of some of those coyotes. Look at that. You can see all kinds. You see the weasel and the badger. I thought that was a mink, but I guess it's a weasel. They're very closely related, though. As the trees and bushes grow back along the river, their roots hold the soil in place. Water trickles slowly instead of rushing down the slope and washing the riverbanks away. Sections of the river became straighter, deeper, and narrower, with fast flowing water in deep pools that shelter bigger fish. Elsewhere, where beavers have dammed the streams that feed the river, the water spreads out into quiet beaver ponds. The different habitat provide a greater variety of places for animals to live. Who would have thought that the return of a few wolves could have benefited so many other animals? All right, here we go. We've got a picture of the landscape. The whole landscape got better because they brought the wolves back to Yellowstone. And you want to know something? The scientists, actually, with all their knowledge, they didn't know this was going to happen. This was a surprise to them. They didn't realize that more trees would grow back and more plants would grow back and the riverbanks would get stronger and all these other animals would benefit. They honestly didn't know all that was going to happen. So they were very, very pleased. And this was all because they decided to bring the wolves back into Yellowstone. And the wolves were there naturally in the beginning, but people make things change and not always for the better. So this is a wonderful thing they did for a beautiful place. If you ever get a chance, I hope you get to go to Yellowstone. You will never forget the experience. It is just absolutely amazing. So there you have it. The Wolves Return, a new beginning for Yellowstone Park. I hope you enjoyed this story. God bless you.